I have a feeling that if it is, it's affecting your success rate. I have a feeling that if it is cluttered, it is affecting your ability to get things done.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
All right, folks. I'm going to tell a little story on my son today, and he would hate me if he knew I was telling it. So don't tell him. He doesn't listen to this podcast, but I think it teaches a great lesson, and so I think it's worth the description. First, I want to pause and remind you that we're sponsored, of course, by Spark. Spark for appraisers. It allows you to transfer data at the click of a button, folks. It's so flippin' easy. Spark4appraisers.com is where you go to learn more. Spark4appraisers.com. Okay, folks, I've let you know that I have been involved in the startup of a hobby farm up in Montana, and I've been basically living up there for the last several weeks. I come back to do appraisal inspections about every 7 days or so, every week or so for a few days, and then I head back up. He has been living up there since December, and he lives in a fifth wheel. It's a fairly large fifth wheel, especially for just a single guy. Of course, there's plenty of room for dad when I come up there. At least there should be. One of the problems is my son gets so involved in work and life that he forgets about the little stuff, right? So to bring a sack of something from the store home and putting it on a bench instead of putting it away, it becomes easy, right? To remove dirty clothes and throw them on the floor and forget to pick them up in the morning and put them in the laundry is a thing, right? To use a dish and not immediately clean it up afterwards becomes kind of a habit. You know what I'm talking about. Now, I will say this about my son. He, by far, growing up, was our cleanest kid. So I know he has it in him, right? He always had his room spick and span, super uncluttered, super clean, everything neat and clean, right? And then he kind of dropped that in his older years. So when I first showed up to the trailer to live in there, to move in, I was a little bit shocked, a little bit scared, a little bit. What happened to my little boy? And honestly, we had so much to do on the farm that other than just a little peripheral cleanup, and by the way, I'm not like that at all. I am a clean freak. If maybe, I might have a pile of clutter here and there, but for the most part, you look at my desk and it's pretty clean. I'm not OCD about it, but I do like a clean space. Okay, so I couldn't really sleep the first night until I at least cleaned up a little bit and got my bed ready and such. Okay, so that happened. And then, like him, I got involved in the day-to-day of the farm. And as a consequence, now I kept my stuff cleaned up, but I wasn't cleaning up his stuff as well, right? Nor expecting him to do so. We were working 12, 13, 14, 15, sometimes 16-hour days. So we would get up at the crack of dawn. We would fall into bed after dark, day after day after day, getting this farm up and going. And as a consequence, taking time out to clean just was not happening the way that it should. Now, here's the caveat. My wife, his mother, about a week ago, came up to visit the farm for opening day. And my son knew she was coming. I knew she was coming, of course. And regardless of how busy we were, the night before she arrived, we took about 2.5 hours to do, I'm not going to call it a deep clean, but I'm going to say, a good enough clean, right? 2.5 hours will get you pretty far in a fifth wheel, right? In a space that's about 7 foot wide by about, 40 foot long. We got quite a bit done in that 2.5 hours. It made all the difference in the world. Now, the funny thing is my wife didn't really want to sleep in the camper. So we ended up sleeping in the back of the SUV. And so she hardly stepped foot in there. But nonetheless, we got a little bit clean. I want to come back and talk to you a little bit about your environment, your physical environment, your mental environment, your financial environment. First, I want to pause, remind you that we're sponsored by a great company called Spark. And Spark is a great company because it saves you time and energy. It's a great marriage between the Appraiser Coach and Spark because we work for the same goals. the same things that they're working for, we're working for, and that is efficiency and success and allowing appraisers to be able to be successful at what they do. Folks, if you want to learn more, check them out on the web at spark4appraisers.com. Again, it's spark4appraisers.com. Welcome back, folks. We are talking a little bit about our environment. I told you a story about my son and cleaning up the environment that he worked in. Folks, I will tell you that my attitude, if nothing else, changed after we cleaned up a little bit in that trailer. And I will tell you that my efficiency increased as well, just by nature of not having to trip over things or, hey, I know we bought that a couple of days ago. Where did we put it? Right? Those types of things take time. In fact, one of the things that we first implemented when we started hiring people for the farm was if you take a tool off of the tool shed, it goes back regardless of whether you're done with the job or not, right? Don't put it down and say, well, I'm going to come back to this later, because we end up not finding things forever. I'll give you an example. A couple of weeks ago, I was using a pair of bolt cutters. And we were using it to cut pig wire to, fix some of the fencing and yada, yada, yada. Well, about 2 days later, I needed the bolt cutters again, and I could not find them. And I knew it was my fault. I had laid them down in the tall grass where I was working, and I could not for the life of me find them. Couldn't. And so as a consequence, I ended up buying new bolt cutters because I needed a project done. So next time we went to town, I bought bolt cutters. No, it was only $15, but it was $15, right? And wouldn't you know it, when I got back, like an hour later, I found the old bolt cutters. I literally found the old ones right after I'd used the new ones, so I couldn't return them. So again, put away, right? So what is the lesson today, folks? First of all, of course, there's a physical lesson, right? Is your desk cluttered? Is your office cluttered? Is your workspace in your car cluttered, right? I have a feeling that if it is, it's affecting your success rate. I have a feeling that if it is cluttered, it is affecting your ability to get things done. Secondly, how is it affecting you mentally? I can tell you that there was a lift off of my shoulders when we were able to get that camper cleaned. I hope my son felt that as well and continues the habit, if you will. But financially, there's a problem as well. I mean, I gave you an example of buying new bolt cutters, right? That's just one example. But every part of our lives is affected by the way that we keep our environment. My encouragement today on this short mini-sode is to ask yourself, what does your environment look like and what could be improved in that environment? Thank you for joining me today, folks. I'm so grateful to have you there. Truly, I appreciate you very much, and we'll create some value.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.